Star Wars The Acolyte Episode 8, titled The Acolyte, finishes the season by answering some questions while leaving some mysteries wide open and the potential for a second season looming large. And honestly, from a music standpoint, I think I'm more confused now than ever. This is Star Wars Music Analysis.
Do it.
Subtle and sparse sounds enter as we pick up with Osha wearing Chimere's helmet, and this got weird fast and went somewhere that I certainly did not completely understand. Chimere shows obvious panic and then seems to become possessed. The music builds from there with rumbles in the strings before a choir enters as well. They build in essentially a cluster, creating just a chaotic mess designed to overwhelm our senses, just like these two. But what was that? I'd love to hear your theories. Chimere's eyes look just like Torben's when he was possessed by Mother Anastasia. Do you think the witch's magic is still alive in Osha? As Osha says she saw May, the second half of May's theme enters.
She was killing Saul.
Where is she?
It returns again as Osha says she can stop her. As May picks her lock, Osha's theme, or what I've been calling Osha's theme, plays. And this begins my thoughts in this episode of these two themes actually beginning to be switched for these two characters. Abels is already foreshadowing what we'll see later on. As May escapes, her drums of killing return. As she dips into the planetary ring, the trombones glissando down with her. Abels keeps the tension of the moment going with syncopations in the drums and strings, while the higher strings move in fast, chaotic bursts, and the brass occasionally attack with the typical Williams-esque break drum and xylophone. This felt a lot like prequels era Williams to me, and I have been impressed throughout the series at how Abels can call on the sounds of Williams while still being original to this show. As Soul loses control and the two ships begin to tumble through the planetary ring, the music turns into something that floats for a moment with strings and harp, and it was an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of this shot before chaos reignites. The syncopated rhythms from before are now just a driving steady drum as May plummets towards Brendok, and yet again a ship descends through the atmosphere all the way to the surface without breaking apart, even on impact. For anyone who wants to know, this is the thing that drives me crazy in Star Wars. Ships don't seem to be able to crash into planets in Star Wars, but this goes all the way back to George. Also, the fact that on an entire planet, people always seem to be able to land within a couple kilometers of where they should be, even when they crash. But Abels cuts out the music just in time for us to hear the light thud of this ship hitting the hard surface of the planet. As Senator Rancourt foreshadows that a Jedi will eventually snap and that nobody may be able to stop them, Abels does something really cool and really subtle. It starts by sounding like May's theme, and then Abels twists it into Vader's theme. And as much as we're supposed to hate this guy right now for being a politician, he's right. This path will lead to Vader, a fallen Jedi who can't be stopped, and Abels was just giving us that hint.
Snaps. And when, not if that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him?
That's certainly an opinion, and not one.
My guess is that Senator Rancourt, another strong actor for this show, will be a major character during Season 2. Now, let's talk about the craziest thing in this episode, because this was Darth Plagueis. To be fair, I was super excited to see him, but this also felt extremely forced into the show, considering that we don't see him again the rest of the episode. It's a tease that really gave us nothing and wasn't necessary, and if anyone was doubting that this was Plagueis, just listen to the music. As his Mune face is revealed, we hear the same low throat singing that we hear during the ballet during Revenge of the Sith. And that matters because it was during that ballet that the name Plagueis was first mentioned by Palpatine. Personally, I hope that this is as close to a theme that we ever get, as he remains a figure cast in shadows and darkness. But it's even possible that Plagueis has been behind the whole thing, including the Coven, this entire time, controlling them as they learn how to control and create life. But I'm curious if this is Kymir's master or not. He seems pretty ticked about Kymir and Osha leaving while he also hides. I wonder if Kymir even knows he's there. Or what if my theory still stands that Kymir isn't really a true Sith, but a Sith wannabe, and Plagueis is here to shut him up. But maybe Brendok is where he learns how to control the Force, and where he accidentally creates Anakin using the same powers as the Coven. It makes sense since he obviously had to have learned these powers of Sith alchemy from somewhere, right? Please let me know your thoughts and theories on this. What's Plagueis' role going to be? As we see Sol landed safely, the same theme that played when the Jedi would enter the Coven Fortress plays here, reminding us of the last time that Sol was on Brendok. It returns again as Sol enters the fortress itself, just like he did before, and as Osha and Kymir approach the main door. The music inside is peaceful with a high string drone, solo cello, and chanting, reflecting the witches that were once here. May's drums beat on as she ascends from the pit she once fell into, and notice how everything is reflective in this episode, like a mirror of episode 7. The theme of confrontation returns once more as Sol walks down the hallway, but as Kymir finds him, his theme enters as he ignites his Crimson Blade. And the more I watch these lightsaber fights, the more I'm enjoying them. They aren't as beautifully choreographed as the prequel fights, but they feel far more real, as if any one of the swipes could be a killing blow instead of this being a dance. Every motion made me fear for Sol. Kymir's theme attempts to enter again, but Sol silences it quickly. The snap pizzicatos act like a clock ticking away at time before the trumpets attack in a succession of triplets as Kymir does the most incredible lightsaber throw I've ever seen. But Sol defends it again as the music cuts through triumphantly. And Kymir is using some sick moves, clearly giving it everything he has. And Sol is just schooling him right now. Yeah, Kymir is definitely the apprentice, not the master. Kymir's theme enters as Osha confronts May. I'm not sure why it's Kymir's theme, except that we see Osha playing into his scheme here the same way we would sometimes hear Palpatine's theme as people like Anakin fell into his traps during the prequels. Osha's theme confusingly plays next as the Jedi fly over. I'm left wondering what happened to the theme we heard when we first saw them fly in, though, in episode 1. What happened to that? Kymir's theme returns several more times as he battles Sol, but Sol always seems to have the upper hand. As Sol tries to explain to Osha what he did and why he did it, her rage grows. A distorted version of her theme plays to reflect the transformation that's occurring.
Stop talking.
I kept this from you, so you could have the light.
As Osha goes full on Vader and force chokes Sol to death, the theme of profound loss plays through, both for the death of Sol but also for the loss of Osha's innocence as she mourns her past and reality. As she finishes, her theme plays again, but this will be the last time we hear Osha's theme for Osha as she becomes lost to the dark side. As the group of Jedi enter the fortress, yet again, that theme plays of what I'm calling confrontation. It's followed by Kymir's theme as he watches for Nestra. It seems clear by now that he really was her Padawan, so what happened between these two? As Osha and May reach the tree together, a moment of peace occurs as the Coven theme enters to give us a sense once more of the connection between these sisters.
Sorry I started that fire. You will meet the same fate as our mother.
As May mentions their mother, it returns again, but as a memory in the harp. As they embrace, May's theme comes in, now belonging to Osha as well as the two sisters seem to switch identities. I wonder if anyone else has noticed how the two sisters seem to always balance one another's temperaments. As one gets angrier, the other tends to become more level-minded and vice versa. The more Osha's rage built during this show, the less rage that May had. And since they are somehow the same person, this could be a way to balance a limited amount of emotion for the sisters that aren't sisters. As May is taken to the Jedi Temple, a sadder and more complacent version of her theme enters. The May we knew as a vengeful killer is gone. As Vernestra Rowe describes her version of what occurred on Brendok and afterwards, the theme of confrontation enters. It brings us back to that night on Brendok one more time, a night that began in sincerity, but that fell into chaos. As Chimere approaches Osha, the theme of profound loss plays in the horn. It demonstrates the fall that Osha has undergone, now lost in her own anger and darkness. But as it plays, Chimere's theme becomes entangled in it, corrupting this beautiful theme into something more difficult to discern, distracting from the sadness and darkness of Osha's fall within its own temptations. And then the solo violin theme of Temptation that played significantly during episode 6 as Chimere tempted Osha to the dark side follows next as these themes and storylines all collide. And there is one final short scene as Vernestra Rowe speaks to Yoda. It would have been awesome to get a little hint of Yoda's theme, but you can't win them all. Admittedly, I was bummed that we never got an answer to why we're hearing Kylo Ren's theme. It was so blatant at times that it couldn't have been missed, and to do that and not give a clear place that it was leading to is simply disappointing. But I absolutely would love to know what all of you think. Let me know your Plagueis theories. I have to imagine there will be a season 2 after this. So, where do you think this story will go next? What do you think will happen to Chimere and Osha? What is the connection between Vernestra and Chimere? What do you think of my theory that Osha and May will always balance one another? Tell me in the comments below what you think, and consider checking out my Patreon page using the link in the description, where you can help support this channel for as little as $1 a month, or download PDFs and MP3s of projects as I complete them, along with other perks at higher tiers. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away, and as always, may the be with you.